Jadov is back at it here to give everyone my top 100 favorite movies of all time, part 8, continuing my series of ranking my favorite movies. Now, there's a few things you should know before I get into ranking my movies 30 through 21. We are going to disagree. You're going to have movies you like, I have movies I like. Just remember that this is my favorite movies ranking series and not the 100 greatest movies. But if you have a list of your own, I'm okay with you putting that in the comments section. And also, if you have a YouTube video of your own that you've done of your favorite movies, whether, however many movies you did, top 10, top 20, top 50, top 70, top 100, leave it in the comments section and I will do my best to check it out and give you feedback, because it's important that since you watched mine, I should give you feedback on yours. So keep that under advisement. Another thing that people have been complaining about, I don't have any old movies in this total ranking. The oldest movie that I have is from 1980, and that would be Empire Strikes Back, and that was like in the 90 through 100. That would be the oldest movie that I like. There are no classics. Casablanca, It's a Wonderful Life, To Kill a Mockingbird. If you're looking for those type of movies, you're not going to see them here. And then lastly, obviously I know what movie that I'm going to talk about, but I don't have anything prepared as far as what specifically I'm going to talk about. So, based on that, there could be spoilers, because I just start talking once I name the movie, and I could spoil something. So if you're a fan of spoilers, great. Continue on. I actually do like spoilers, because it kind of prepares me for things, and I can always think of how they got to this particular point in the movie or TV show. But for those of you that don't like any spoilers whatsoever, pause the video, forward ahead a little bit, or stop watching in general, because I don't want to be the person that spoils anything for you, because I don't know what I'm going to say. And with that in mind, let's start this ranking again. Movies 30 through 21. Coming in at number 30, a movie that's underrated that I really enjoy, although it's getting a lot of notoriety from what I've heard as of late, and that would be The Town. Ben Affleck does a superb job in this movie. I think he directed it as well, or did he write it? He wrote it or directed it, or maybe both, but he stars in it as well. He plays a robber, bank robber and robber of things at Fenway Park, basically looking for a lot of money. They rob this bank. There's a bank manager there, played by Rebecca Hall. They take her hostage just until they get away. They let her out, and then Ben Affleck's character decides to start dating this bank manager. Obviously, her not knowing anything of what happened with the bank and not knowing that he's one of the people involved in the bank robbery. One of his partners is Jeremy Renner, and there's an agent that's after him, trying to piece together who was behind all these robberies, played by John Hamm of Mad Men. And Blake Lively's in it as Ben Affleck's ex, and it's just a really, really fun movie, and I highly recommend that you give it a chance, even if you don't like Ben Affleck, which I happen to like Ben Affleck. I guess I'm in the minority there, because not a lot of people do. He's behind some great movies. Argo and this movie, The Town, are two awesome ones. And I like Armageddon too, and some of the Kevin Smith movies, but give The Town a chance. Number 29, a movie that was directed by the people that are going to be behind the new Scream movie, which comes out on January 14th, 2022. Yeah, I'm waiting for that one. And I didn't watch it until last year, but I've now watched this movie, I think, 5 times. I really enjoy it. It's called Ready or Not. The premise behind the movie is a couple gets married. They go to the family home. It's kind of like a mansion, something like that. Maybe not a mansion, but it's kind of in between a house and a mansion, if I remember correctly. And they always play a game on the night of a wedding. Usually, it's an easy game. Nothing crazy happens. But if they land on hide and seek, and it's just like the weird puzzle box that picks the game, if hide and seek happens, well, it's not just your average game of hide and seek. The object of this hide and seek is for the bride to hide and the family members to kill the bride. And they have till a certain time in the morning to kill her. Otherwise, because of a family curse, they all die. And that is what it lands on. So it's just chaos. But it's a horror movie, but it's not really a horror movie. It's horror. It's a horror comedy. It reminds me a lot of Scream. It has funny moments. There's a character in the movie, if you're familiar with the TV show Orphan Black, the person that played Donnie, Rachel's wife. Wait, that's not right. One of the people in Orphan Black's husband, God, what was her name? Irrelevant, but he's in it, and he's like, I think he's in the bathroom or another room just playing on his phone. Like, I don't want to be a part of this stuff. And it's hilarious. That's one of the funny parts. But Ready or Not, I highly recommend it. If you haven't seen it yet, check it out. And then don't forget, Scream, the new Scream movie, January 14th, 2022. And we'll get to that in just a second. Or maybe in the next video. Number 28, one of my favorite series of all time. A movie that I started watching when I was a kid. Until this day, it still holds up. And surprisingly enough, I like this movie even more than the original because I find this one way more faster paced, where the original was too much character development, and I got bored with it. So I'm talking about Rocky 2. I really enjoy Rocky 2. I think it's a perfect movie, although it's not on a lot of people's higher or rankings list as far as the Rocky movies. It's kind of in the middle or towards the bottom, which just baffles me. It's a lot faster paced than the first one. It's got its moments. It's got when Adrian's sick and, she's in the hospital and she wakes up from she's in a coma, I think. And it's been a couple of years since I've seen it. And she tells Rocky, I want you to do one thing. What's that? And Rocky's kind of having a bad time. Like he's training for a fight against Apollo Creed his second time. He's not really doing really good. Mickey's yelling at him all the time. But anyway, Adrian kind of, come here. And she's like, what do you want? And she's like, I want you to do one thing, Rock. What's that? Win. Huh? Win. And Adrian was against him fighting. And then, of course, Mickey, played by Burgess Meredith, is like, well, what are we waiting for? Hilarious, in my opinion. And then, of course, you've got the end of the movie. Rocky and Apollo are battling out. They both are down. The time's about to run out. They're counting to 10. And at 10, Rocky's standing and Apollo falls back down just before it gets to 10. Rocky's your new champion of the world. Great ending. I like it. I guess it's not depressing enough because a lot of the other Rocky movies have depressing things happen, like people die and people really like them. But I love Rocky 2. And that's why I think it's better than the original. And it's my number one Rocky movie for ranking that series. Number 27, movie that was the string of great Nicolas Cage movies in the mid-90s. You had The Rock, you had Con Air, and then number 27 would be Face Off. Really enjoy Face Off. You have John Travolta's character who is trying to get revenge for his son's death, as Nicolas Cage's character, Castor Troy, shot Sean Archer, and that bullet went through Sean Archer and went through his kid as well, killing his kid. So he's on this revenge path, trying to get this Castor Troy character, who ends up getting him, and he thinks he kills him. And then there's this bomb out there that they don't know where the bomb is, and they have to have somebody talk to Castor Troy's brother to get him to confess where the bomb is. Well, he's only going to talk to Castor Troy, and then they have some people talk to Sean Archer, and they're like, we can do this procedure where we can put Castor Troy's face on you and line up everything and make you become Castor Troy. You'll look just like him. We'll adjust your audio and all that stuff. A little far-fetched, I know, but they end up doing this, and he eventually finds out where the bomb is. But during this time period, guess who wakes up? Castor Troy wakes up and becomes Sean Archer, the agent, and then he goes and messes around with Sean Archer's wife, makes chaos at the bureau, kills the Lazaro, or the head of the FBI, and it's just a really awesome movie. I really like it. I don't think it's a little far-fetched like I mentioned, but it works, and that's why Face Off is number 27. I'm sorry, with the rest of the movies, I'm going to talk a lot, so the videos are going to be more than like 15 minutes long, just so you're aware. Number 26, Really good movie. A little sad at times, but still good. And that would be Flight with Denzel Washington. So Denzel is this pilot. He's an alcoholic, and he also deals with cocaine and other narcotics. He has a really long night one night, doesn't sleep really, and wakes up, goes to work, flies the plane. He drinks while he's on the plane, and then he passes out. Well, at some point during the flight, there's some turbulence, and then there's something that goes wrong. Well, to save people, Denzel Washington's character turns the plane upside down and flies the plane upside down. It eventually does crash, but not as bad as it could be. Some people die, including the flight attendant that he was fucking in the hotel room before he went to fly this plane, but it works. So they're trying to determine what happened with this, and they're like, your blood alcohol level when we tested you when you were in the hospital was really high, and it kind of goes from there. You have John Goodman who's in it, his drug dealer. You have Don Cheadle who's in it, who actually I don't like Don Cheadle at all, but he's in it. Bruce Greenwood's in it, who's kind of like a good supporting actor. He's also in National Treasure 2, as well as Star Trek and Star Trek Into Darkness, amongst a lot of other things. But I really like Flight. It's a really good movie, and I watch it a lot. And if you haven't seen it yet, you better check it out. Number 25, a movie that a lot of people will be surprised is my favorite movie of this franchise, and that would be American Pie 2. I know a lot of you like American Pie. There's nothing wrong with the original American Pie. It's great. I feel that American Pie 2 was 10 times better than American Pie. Surprisingly enough, I really liked American Pie 2. I think they get out of the high school setting. They go to this lake house. They have a lot of fun at the lake house. You have Stifler, Jim, and Finch go to these chicks' house, and they think they're lesbians, and they're like, well, we'll kiss if you two kiss. And then, of course, Jim's masturbating, gets a VHS tape stuck to his hand. Eugene Levy, of course, is Jim's dad, who's just hilarious. And Finch is hoping Stifler's mom shows up. I mean, it's kind of the first one redone, but I feel it's like a lot better. Maybe it's not in your eyes, but it is in my eyes, and that's my favorite movie of the American Pie series. In fact, the American Pie series movies that went to the theater, they're all really good. American Wedding being the worst one, but as far as being the worst one, it's not that bad. I really like American Reunion and, of course, American Pie, but American Pie 2, it's my 25th favorite movie of all time, and I'll stick to those guns. Number 24, a lot of people's favorite movie, or a lot of people's movie that's definitely in their top 10, we'll say. A feel-good movie, a great movie you can just put and listen to, laugh at, cry at if you want, but Forrest Gump. I don't have to talk about Forrest Gump. You've already seen it, and if you haven't, check out that movie. Tom Hanks gives a brilliant performance. Gary Sinise gives a brilliant performance. Sally Field is Tom Hanks' mom, Forrest Gump's mom. She's okay, and Forrest Gump is definitely an all-time classic, but that's my number 24. Number 23, one of my favorite comic book movies of all time, which some would be surprised by this. You think it's a Marvel movie. I'm talking about X-Men Days of Future Past. They took all the characters from the old X-Men movies and combined them with the characters from the new X-Men movies. Even some characters that were the same character, like the Ian McKellen Magneto versus the Michael Fassbender Magneto, and the James McAvoy Charles Xavier for the Patrick Stewart Charles Xavier. And of course you have Hugh Jackman being the lead as Wolverine. You have Jennifer Lawrence. You have Peter Dinklage from Game of Thrones in it. And the movie is awesome. Basically, they want to stop Mystique from killing this, I can't remember his name in the movie now. Peter Dinklage's character's name, the dwarf. No offense to short people or anything like that, but I can't remember what they called him in the movie. I don't know. But that's the whole premise. He has to go back in the past. And the movie is just entertaining as all hell. I love it. I really enjoyed this movie, especially opening night in the theater seeing it. But X-Men Days of Future Past, number 23. And I had good hopes for a X-Men Apocalypse, and I was very let down by that. How are you going to cast somebody that's 5'10" to be Apocalypse? Yes, I can know they can make him bigger with CGI, but in my opinion, they should have paid up the big bucks and made like Dwayne Johnson play Apocalypse, who's taller and can play the intellectual-ish. I don't know. Somebody other than, nothing against the actor who played Apocalypse, but he's just not tall enough. Would have preferred somebody bigger, and that the character that played Apocalypse was Poe Dameron in the newer Star Wars movies. His name is escaping me at the moment. I can think of it, though. But anyway, X-Men Days of Future Past is my 23rd movie. Number 22, an action-packed, crazy action movie. When I saw this in the theater for the first time, I was like in awe of how crazy the action was in terms of what happened. And I'm talking about Olympus Has Fallen. You have Gerald Butler, who's a Secret Service agent, like the guy that's closest to the president, or one of them. And the president and the president's wife go on something. There ends up being an accident, and the president's wife ends up dying in this particular accident. So the president, played by Aaron Eckhart, who is Two-Face in the Dark Knight movie, he decides that he doesn't want Mike Banning involved with this portion, and they send him to an office job. Well, flash forward a little bit. The White House, all of a sudden terrorists take over the White House, and Mike Banning, who's close to the White House but not right next to it, ends up getting there and has to save the day. And it's just crazy action. You also have Morgan Freeman in it. He's obviously great. And I really like Olympus Has Fallen. Way better than the knockoff, which was White House Down with Jamie Foxx and Channing Tatum. Olympus Has Fallen is awesome. Seeing that in the theater the first time I saw it, I think that was a crazy movie. And rounding out this ranking video, number 21, Prisoners. I'm actually a big fan of Hugh Jackman. And this movie, while slow at times and, kind of slow moving, it just works. The premise of this movie is there's two families, and each of their daughters ends up disappearing. Well, they get a lead on somebody that's a little special. He's a little weird, and he's not all there. He's got like the mentality of somebody really young when he's, 20s-ish. And they have to find out what happened to these girls. And since the investigation isn't going anywhere, Hugh Jackman's character, which I think his name is Hugh Dover, decides to take action into his own hands. He kidnaps this kind of special needs kid and starts torturing him and beating the shit out of him, trying to get answers. And then his buddy, who their daughter's missing as well, Terrence Howard, he starts to get in on it, trying to get answers as well, because they're running out of time. When there's an abduction, after a certain amount of time, luckily, the likelihood that the kids are alive isn't that high. So it's just a crazy movie. A little slow, but I think once the movie's over, you end up liking it. So there is part 8 of this ranking series. Let me know if in this part there were any movies that you really like. Like I said before, if you have your own movie ranking list, you can leave that in the comments section. If you have a YouTube video that you've done your favorite movies of all time, however many movies it is, you can go ahead and share that. Make sure you smash that like button if you're a fan of movies in general. Share the video with anybody else that you know that likes movies or wants to hear other people's favorite movie ranking list. I know I did 10 separate videos, or so far I've done 8. There's a reason to that. I didn't want a 2-hour long video. And, write me comments about movies that you liked or movies that you think I'm an idiot for liking. That's fine. We can disagree. And, of course, last but certainly not least, don't forget to hit that sub button, subscribe to the channel, join the team, show your damn support, and be a part of something special. And JDev will return.